Once upon a time, in a peaceful mountain village, there was a humble stone mason named Taro. Every day, Taro diligently shaped stones into exquisite bricks and tiles. He lived a simple life, always finding joy and contentment in his work. However, one day, a group of wealthy merchants happened to pass through the village. Seeing their lavish and affluent lifestyle, Taro suddenly felt a strong desire awakening within him, longing to become wealthy like them. Taro's wish quickly became reality, leaving him utterly astonished. He became a wealthy merchant, possessing material riches he had only dreamed of before. However, that joy didn't last long. Soon enough, he realized that wealth did not bring true happiness. Unsatisfied with what he had, Taro yearned to become a powerful prince. That wish was granted once again, but still he felt no peace within. The relentless dissatisfaction tormented Taro's mind. He thought that if he became the sun, no one could surpass him. But when he became the sun, he yearned to be the clouds that could obscure its brilliance. As the clouds, he longed to transform into a mighty mountain, able to withstand the forces of wind and rain. Thus, Taro persisted in his pursuit of contentment, but with each transformation, he felt increasingly hollow. However, not long after, a stonecutter began to carve into the mountain that Taro had become. At this point, he realized that even mighty mountains could be eroded and diminished under the hands of humans. No amount of power could help him escape his fate. The exhausting and endless pursuit to satisfy his ceaseless desires brought him nothing but emptiness. Finally, Taro came to realize the futility of those desires and longed once again to return to his simple, humble life as a stonecutter. He wished to return to the joy and contentment he had once found in the stones he chiseled every day. This wish was granted, and Taro returned to the village, continuing his work with a heart more content and satisfied than ever before. Simplicity is a valuable quality, bringing great benefits in many areas of life. By simplifying thoughts, desires, or living spaces, we can eliminate unnecessary worries and focus on what truly matters. It is simplicity that clears the mind, brings peace, and a sense of fulfillment in life. Moreover, simplicity can be the most effective remedy in a world inundated with consumerism and endless ambitions, leading to dissatisfaction and exhaustion. This video will explore the invaluable benefits of a simple lifestyle and explain why simplicity is indeed true strength. 1. Inner peace and spiritual clarity. Many years ago, I had 2 pet mice. As far as I remember, they ate a lot and also produced a lot of waste, requiring their cage to be cleaned regularly. However, there was one time when I forgot this task, and when I realized their cage had become messy. The mice became quiet and withdrawn, looking very distressed. Realizing this, I immediately cleaned the cage and replaced it with fresh pine shavings and dry grass. When I put them back into the cage, they seemed to come alive, running around happily as if they had just won the lottery. As I began to observe their behavior, I noticed that every time I cleaned their living environment, their mood would change positively. This made me realize that these small creatures aren't so different from humans, as the cleanliness and tidiness of the surrounding environment directly influence our mood. Studies have provided clear scientific evidence for this statement. For example, a study from Princeton University has shown that a cluttered environment can reduce our ability to focus on a specific task. Researchers from the UCLA Center on Everyday Lives and Families have found a correlation between high levels of cortisol, stress hormone, and the amount of clutter in the home. They concluded that clutter may have a negative impact on our mood and self-esteem. These studies provide a scientific basis for better understanding the impact of the surrounding environment on human mood and emotions. According to that specific study, what's interesting is that not only clutter but also the quantity of objects in the home correlates with our feelings. From this, we can conclude that simplicity in living space has a positive impact on our mood, bringing about clarity of mind and inner peace. Besides simplifying the living environment to enhance happiness, there are many other ways to incorporate simplicity into life to promote inner peace and mental clarity. What about simplifying thoughts? I'm not suggesting oversimplifying complex issues, but what I want to emphasize is not cluttering and complicating simple matters, which many people often fall into. We often overanalyze everything to the point of exhaustion, and this often leads to anxiety or other negative mental states. For example, when faced with a decision, we may be overwhelmed by hundreds of variables, possible scenarios, others' opinions, and other factors. However, we can also listen to our intuition and gut feelings, acknowledging that every choice comes with uncertainty. And ultimately, we cannot know the future, no matter how carefully we analyze. By embracing uncertainty and courageously facing choices, after thoughtful consideration, our minds will become much calmer. Moreover, we can apply simplicity to our desires, making life easier and more peaceful. Let's assume that our desires and pleasures are endless and difficult to satisfy. In that case, inner peace will become rare, as we must constantly struggle to achieve satisfaction. However, if our desires and pleasures are simple, we will need less to satisfy them. Therefore, tranquility in our souls will be more abundant. My grandfather, an animal lover, once shared with me that he didn't need an expensive yacht. Feeding and caring for a small bird in the garden brought him an equivalent sense of happiness. 2. Freedom from excessive consumerism. Imagine the time, effort, and money saved compared to others who desire to own an expensive yacht. This brings us to another benefit. Imagine a woman shopping for toothpaste at a supermarket. Inside, she encounters a range of options from different brands, catering to every possible preference. There are whitening ones, herbal ones, sensitivity-reducing ones, natural ones, fluoride-free ones, charcoal-infused ones, and even unicorn glitter gel ones that taste like bubble gum. After buying a tube of SpongeBob toothpaste, she felt overwhelmed and exhausted. A simple task had turned into a challenging decision-making process. The irony of choice truly exists. This is the consequence of our consumer society, where we are presented with countless options far removed from the past when everything was much simpler. In life, having fewer choices can be both a curse and a blessing. We don't face 12 types of SpongeBob toothpaste, but at the same time, we don't have the burden of deciding between hundreds of products as we do today. Let's face this reality. We spend too much time on decision-making. For every product, we have to choose among a plethora of brands at the supermarket. For instance, if we want to buy a new phone, there are hundreds of options ranging from budget-friendly to high-end. The same principle applies to many other areas like laptops, TVs, refrigerators, and vacuum cleaners. And to illustrate this, let's consider dating. I remember back when I was around 16, 17 years old, if you wanted to find someone attractive, you just had to wait until the weekend and go to the local club where everyone usually hung out. And the people you met there at that time were your choices. Therefore, if you want something, the opportunity will always be present. But now, With the emergence of dating apps, we are facing the selectiveness of hundreds of millions of users. The time an average person spends swiping and chatting on these apps just to find a real date is astonishing. With all these options, with all the products vying for our attention, and with all the things we fear missing out on, it's easy to get lost. We've devoted too much energy, time, and money to acquiring everything to the point where consumerism has become a kind of religion. Shopping centers today resemble new temples, where we don't seek God, but seek ways to buy bigger and better things. Therefore, the most effective way to break free from this state is to embrace simplicity. That includes nurturing simple interests, simple pleasures, and simple choices. Instead of always seeking the best, we can learn to seek what's good enough. This also applies to dating. Limit your choices instead of facing an infinite array of options. Stop comparing excessively and don't constantly fall into analysis paralysis when deciding what to buy. Seeking satisfaction from within, independent of every market trend, is crucial. By embracing simplicity, we free ourselves from the relentless pressure of consumerism, which brings great benefits, because when we break free from those constraints, we can use our energy for real life, instead of getting lost in shopping and decision-making. 3. Opposing the culture of achievement. Philosopher Byung-Chul Han has observed that we have undergone a transition from a disciplinary society to an achievement society. The disciplinary society is characterized by limitations and prohibitions. What we are not allowed to do. That's the world of labor camps, prisons, psychiatric facilities, and factories. Meanwhile, the achievement society is characterized by luxurious offices, gyms, banks, airports, and shopping centers. In the disciplinary society, citizens often face restrictions and prohibitions, while in the achievement society, they are free and have more opportunities. Although it may be true that those in the disciplinary society may feel oppressed and limited, those in the achievement society are often seen as free and blessed with countless opportunities. However, upon closer examination, those in the achievement society also endure a similar form of slavery, which can even be more burdensome. Instead of being imposed by others, they impose pressure on themselves and call it ambition, striving for success and relentlessly pursuing goals, even if it means sacrificing health and life balance. To keep up and succeed in an achievement society demands immense dedication. We must strive to keep pace with the Joneses, optimize our LinkedIn profiles with compelling job descriptions and accomplishments, all while showcasing a life that is fantastic, meaningful, and relentlessly happy. But in reality, it's just a life filled with stress and exhaustion. Perhaps simply being silent and diligently working in a factory from 9 to 5 like an anonymous worker, sometimes enduring reprimands from supervisors, could be a much simpler and more comfortable way of living. At least we don't have to spend our remaining time convincing others of our level of success. So, how can simplicity help counter the pressure of the achievement society and the risk of burnout it brings? According to Han, excessive positivity is characteristic of our modern society. It's a life dominated by ambition, success, and reputation, seemingly very important things. In an achievement-oriented society, excessive positivity often doesn't bring much benefit to our happiness. Han suggests that we can balance this by adding more negative elements to our lives. Though it may seem strange, this is his perspective. Not everything negative is necessarily destructive. Negative emotions like doubt, hesitation, boredom, anticipation, or anger can bring constructive benefits, although they risk disappearing in an increasingly positive society. The characteristic of these emotions is that they contain an aspect of emptiness, akin to moments of rest after continuous efforts and progress. Perhaps I'm not sure about the feeling of anger, but emotions like boredom, pause, anticipation, and even hesitation all resonate with the concept of simplicity. Doing less, slowing down, and focusing on one or two specific tasks instead of trying to do many things at once can be a simpler way of living. The simpler, the more interesting. While in the end, the bank account may be smaller and the Instagram posts less exciting, we also have the ability to avoid exhaustion and enjoy a much deeper and more fulfilling life. Instead of constantly seeking ways to perfect ourselves, why don't we spend more time on leisure? Instead of always chasing new goals, let's sit back and reflect on what we have achieved in the journey so far. Perhaps we're feeling tired and disheartened. Is there any connection between pain and our self-management? Today, I witnessed a remarkable scene where a group of people came together to do a small task every day, cleaning up trash along the beach. They didn't belong to any high-class social strata, and their work wasn't recognized or highly paid. But this didn't diminish the significance of their work. Watching them, I saw cheerful interaction and great cooperation. They laughed, chatted with each other while working, and experienced moments of genuine enjoyment. Although the work may be challenging and tiring, they still appeared happy and satisfied with what they were doing. In today's age, as pressure and stress continue to increase, perhaps we should also learn from people like them. They show us that joy and happiness don't just come from money or high social status, but also from doing small things with love and dedication. Life can become more interesting and meaningful when we seek contentment in simple things,